bacteria is gone.
Right.
And so that's why pressure canning for vegetables is important, and why we need to make sure to follow the times recommended by USDA, who has done a lot of research at making sure that our food is safe for us to use when we do our canning. We need to remember to have our kitchens clean, and making sure that your hands are clean, making sure that you have your jar lids are clean and warmed, and your jar itself, you always need to remember to check the top of the jar, so that it's nice and smooth.
Right, no cracks.
No cracks, no chips. And sometimes, and I have some, I don't know if I brought them with me today, but I've used them so many times that the rubber on the ring of the lid has stuck to the jar.
Oh.
So you just have to take your fingernail and scrape it off and wash it.
Okay.
And one of the things that I do, which my grandmother couldn't do, was that I wash and heat my jars in the dishwasher. Mm-hmm. So that way my jars are warm, they're always clean, because I store things in the garage.
Right.
And because I have no basement, I have a crawl space. And so that way I've got my jars all warm, they're all clean, and then when they come out, I just automatically check with my finger to make sure there's no nicks or scratches on it. And that way I know when I go to put my food into it, I'm not going to have to lose my food because I was not careful with my jar itself.
Right.
And so being clean is extremely important. And processing correctly is very important for anything along the way. We need to think too about the kinds of cucumbers we use. Mm-hmm. Burpless cucumbers usually turn soft and mushy.
What's a burpless?
Burpless is a new hybrid put out by one of the major seed companies that, for people who eat cucumbers and claim they cause them to burp so much, they've changed the genetics in the cucumber so they're softer, and they apparently don't cause burping. I've never had problems. I love cucumbers.
I've never heard about that
But
before.
they have burpless cucumbers, and those are ones that aren't good for pickling. And also don't buy cucumbers from the store to try to make pickles with, because there's a wax on the outside of the pickle, or outside of the cucumber, to preserve it so it can be transported to the store.
Right.
And that doesn't come off in the pickling process, except that it just makes everything all gooey and gummy. So if you're doing pickles, you need to have fresh pickles, cucumbers,
Yep.
fresh cucumbers, and ones that have come from the garden or from the farmer's market that haven't been processed.
And are not burpless.
Right. And then you need to let them, like any canning, you need to let them sit at least 12 hours before you move them into your pantry area in a cool, dark area. And with pickles, you need to make sure you use the distilled water so that you don't get the extra calcium and magnesium that we have in our hard water in Bloomington. Don't use softened water because that's got the extra salt in it.
Oh.
And then your brining process is all thrown
Right.
off. And so distilled water is important to use if you're having to add fluid to make your pickles. Only use food grade ingredients when you make lime pickles, which are usually the light green fluorescent type pickles. Are called lime pickles, but you need to use food lime, not agricultural lime.
Right.
And so you have to go either, here in Bloomington, you have to go to either Blooming Foods or Farm Bureau Co-op and ask for the food grade lime, or otherwise you'll get the lime that they use on the fields to make the soil sweet so that they can grow corn real well.
Right.
And we really don't want to grow corn in our stomachs. And then the other part of it is don't use table salt or rock salt when you're brining, because rock salt is impure. And that's what we use on the sidewalks in the wintertime. Right. And you can see the gray, black stuff in it. And you really don't want that in your food. And then, as we mentioned earlier, table salt has added ingredients to keep it so it won't stick together. And there's extra iodine in it and that kind of thing. And that, too, will spoil your pickles. So, making sure that you use food grade and the correct kinds of things for your recipes, rather than thinking you can substitute something else and then have a whole mess that you have to throw out.
Right.
So we need to think about that as we think about the food safety and having fun with doing our canning. So we thank you very much for being able to join us about pickling, and hope that you will give it a try and try something new and enjoy it. So again, thank you very much, and we'll see you again another day.